Well, geez, we like to make it harder than it should be sometimes, but full credit, got the 4 points and got ourselves out of there. Terrific win. Not perfect again, especially that second quarter was a very frustrating term, but look, there's so many individuals that you can highlight, and I think we'll all give it its due attention, but one thing that stood out for me was the inclusion of Jack Crisp in that second half in the midfield. 3 touches to half-time, no centre bounce attendances, and I think 3 tackles was his only other sort of headlining top stat. First centre bounce of the third term, and straight away, bang, gets involved, lays more tackles, starts to build up some disposals, gain a bit more confidence. Even when he wasn't getting touches in that third quarter, his running patterns were superb, creating space for other midfielders to get involved. And then kicking goals or giving direct goal assists in that last quarter to really put the game away. Again, there's so many facets of this match that we can discuss, but I wanted to say first and foremost that I felt Jack Crisp deserves to be in our top 3 for, I guess it's a coaching move as well to an extent, but for Fly to recognise that we've got a prime midfielder in Crisp that hasn't really been involved in the game, and the luxury of just being able to put him inside and then watch him go. It's marvellous, really, what he's been able to achieve to this date and to what he continues to do. I think he really set the tone in turning the point of the game. And speaking of setting the tone, Ned Long, my goodness. I thought his game against Sydney was good. I think this was career-defining in a sense. Season high in a lot of statistics. Setting the tone with his pressure around the contest. When you don't have Mitchell and DeGoey, and we said this on our pod on Monday, that we were missing that person in 2024. Well, Ned Long has come in 2025 and has absolutely delivered in spades. Ferociousness around the ball, second to none. I just could not be happier with his output. And no matter what the makeup of the side looks like from here on out, he does not deserve to be taken out of this 22. And I think if there were any queries or doubts about that tonight, he's put those to bed. I thought he was outstanding. Nick Dacos, again, a bit of an average opening half, worked his way through a phenomenal third term, and that's when his running power was fully on show. I could sense some frustration about Nakos, particularly in that first half. He was creating some space, getting into some good spots, and wasn't being looked at by some of his teammates, and you could see there was a bit of frustration. And I'm sure it's nothing personal, it's just all what happens out there on the field. But continued to work at it, didn't put his head down, and was able to come away with a 38 disposal game. And might not even feature in the top 3. I mean, probably ludicrous to think. I'm sure he's around the mark, but yeah, I thought he was just brilliant. Speaking of not getting his head down, I thought Isaac Quainer was having some difficulty on Paul Curtis in that first half, and definitely didn't make some great decisions by foot, but I think he finished with 4 or 5 intercept possessions or intercept marks and really worked his way into the game, into getting some good spots. Him and Jeremy Howe, and Billy Frampton's another one. Gee, what? Again, a privilege to have someone of his ilk, which is very surprising to say, but it's true, come in and play that Darcy Moore role. And it's not just about stopping his opponent now. He's actually getting in some really good spots and has been very, very impressive. So I have to give credit to Bill. Jeremy was terrific again. Isaac Quainer, second to none. Just kept going. Beau McCreary, probably his best... I don't know if it's his best game of the season on the Siren here. One of his more intelligent games. Apart from burning Nick Dacos when he had just come off the bench, I think that was in the second or third term, and he was streaming inside 50, decided to go to Mychick, which ended up being a 2-on-1 and was punched out of bounds. Apart from that, I think he was excellent with his decision-making tonight. Just took an extra second to lower his eyes and hit plenty of targets inside forward 50. I was very impressed. Not to mention when he was put in centre bounces that he was able to deliver and put some really good performances in. And then on top of that, his grunt and his tackling pressure was, of course, is something that we come to expect, but that was probably shadowed a little bit because of some of the other facets of his game that I thought was really impressive. So well done to Beau. I've got to give credit to North. They made the most of their opportunities, particularly in those opening 3 terms. I felt like they weren't missing compared to us, who had a lot of opportunities on goal. Mind you, a lot of rushed behinds as well, so I think that has to be taken into account. But nonetheless, I thought the Roos certainly made the most of their opportunities. Tristan Sherry's an absolute freak of nature, and thank goodness I picked him at pick 2 in my Supercoach because he's a monster. That first half was the Tristan Sherry show. The Tristan Sherry show. Purely. Just hit outs to advantage, clearances. We really are concerned. I'm really concerned with these clearance numbers, and I know that, again, we were able to come away with a pretty good win, but I hope that's something that can be addressed soon because we got monstered in the middle in that first half. Darcy Cameron, fortunately for his sake, was able to go around the ground and have an impact in other ways. Didn't necessarily have a great night in the ruck per se, although, again, coming up against one of the best rucks in the comp. But what makes Darcy Cameron so good is that he can compensate by going and taking some intercept marks, by being an option inside forward 50, by going down the line and producing some really important moments for us. So he was terrific. I've gone 6.5 minutes and I haven't even mentioned Jamie Elliott, who's kicked another 5 goals, just continuing to fly under the radar. But I think now an all-Australian conversation needs to start popping up about Jamie because he's just kicking goals for fun right now. His IQ around inside 50 is just insane. I'm really impressed with Jamie, and it's not like this has just appeared in his game all of a sudden, but it's really being showcased now. And then the same goes for Tim Membry. I thought he did pretty well too, and was able to get rewarded as well with some nice goals towards the end of the match. And still one of the most accurate set shots we've got on the side, even though we did miss, I think, 1, potentially 2. I thought he was terrific as well. So an important 4 points to bank, particularly with Pendlebury and Bobby Hill being laid out, Sidebottom being managed, and then Braden Maynard being lost in the early stages of the first term. It's a foot injury. I hope it's not too serious, but the fact that he was subbed out so quickly and so early doesn't bode well, but wishing him the best. But we're going to get some handy troops back coming up against Hawthorn, and we're really going to need that because I'll be looking to respond. But nice to bank the 4 points. We continue to charge towards another appearance in the finals. Great to get the win at this wonderful stadium, Marvel Stadium, and looking forward to chatting about it on Monday with the boys.